Welcome back to Grey Talks Wrestling. Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all keeping well. SummerSlam 1991. It's time to talk about it. And this wasn't the greatest show of all time, no doubt about it. We've got the wedding of Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth. The end really of a story, pretty much. They go on here and feud with Jake Roberts afterwards. This gets a bit silly in my opinion. Savage wins the title down the road, which I'm happy about that. But this show will always be remembered for one thing and one thing only now. Now we know the full story. We didn't back then. We didn't realise why the main event was so shit. So dreadful. It wasn't just because this Gulf War thing, this Iraqi sympathiser thing was so shit. Not because of that. Not because Hogan was yet again the champion. It wasn't because of that. Partly was. But it was because the Ultimate Warrior had held up Vince McMahon backstage for more money. Wanted more money to perform, supposedly according to Vince and everybody else that tells the story. And he got his ass fired as soon as he went through the curtain. Bye-bye, Ultimate Warrior. But hello, woo! The Nature Boy Ric Flair. Enter the GOAT, the greatest of all time, carrying the World Heavyweight Championship. And I love Bobby Heenan on this show. He's great. Going knocking on Hogan's dressing room with the championship belt. Fantastic. Fantastic. Ric Flair is here in the WWF. Can you believe it? It's like MJF showing up on Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown with the AEW World Championship. It really is. But bigger. Bigger. Because Ric Flair was miles bigger. He was the NWA. He was WCW. In the 80s, it was Flair and the NWA, Hogan and the WWF. What would happen when these two finally meet? Will it ever happen? It was a dream match. Something that no one would ever thought we would see. And there he is. At SummerSlam. Ric fucking Flair. Shocking, absolutely shocking that he had arrived. Shocking times. One of the biggest moves of all time. We'd seen people go backwards and forwards already, yeah, before this, like Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard as the Brainbusters. Then they'd go back. Saw Dusty Rhodes come over and wear polka dots. Then he went back. And now it's Ric Flair's turn. We didn't even see Tony Schiavone had a go. But Ric Flair, this is Ric Flair. Completely different story. Completely different scenario. Massive. 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 But they throw it all in the bin, don't they? He wins the title a couple of times, so we never actually see Hogan versus Flair. Somehow they just never actually get their asses into gear and give us what we should have had. We never got that in the WWF. Crying shame when it should have been done. That's the only problem here. With all of this. We never get to see that. This show, though, starts off with a six-man tag. You get some legends coming out the gate. You really do. In the likes of the British Bulldog, Ricky Steamboat, the Dragon, and Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich. It's a decent, okay six-man tag. They're up against Power and Glory and the Warlord. So you know who's winning this one. Yeah, the babyfaces go over in that one. Next up is probably the best match of the whole show. And the start of a trend, really. With the Intercontinental Championship just being the highlight of SummerSlam. The Intercontinental Championship match is always by far the best match. It just steals the show over the next few years. Consistently. We have Bret Hart is a major factor in that as well. A lot of the times. Same with Mr. Perfect. And we know what happens at 92. Bret Hart and Bulldog. 93. Perfect and HBK. 94. I think that was, what was it? Diesel and Razor. 95, Razor and HBK in a ladder match, I believe, again. 96, I don't think there was. 97, Austin and Owen Hart. Remember, that was a memorable match. Memorable for the wrong reasons, but yeah. 98, Triple H and The Rock in a ladder match. Come on. Intercontinental Championship, man. Stole the show numerous times. I could go on into the 2000s as well. The Intercontinental Championship steals the show at SummerSlam consistently. There's no mistake because of the people that carried that title and made that title what it was. Thankfully now someone is holding the title who is making it just as important as it once was. And here Bret Hart getting his first singles title at SummerSlam 91. And we know where this goes. It was a great match. One of the best matches as well he's ever had, in my opinion. One of the best dance partners with him is in there as well. Mr. Perfect. 2 second generation superstars or wrestlers. Bret Hart, the son of Stu Hart. Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, the son of Larry the Axe Hennig. What a match. 18 minutes, just perfection. Absolute great. The best match of the whole show. Nothing can really follow this, but what does follow it is the Natural Disasters versus the Bushwhackers with Andre the Giant in their corner. Brutal. Really, it's sad to see Andre out there still trying to walk around and do anything. It really is sad times, really, considering what he was 10 years ago. It's just sad we know we're not going to see much more of him after this, really. So it's one of the last times I think we see him in the WWF. Pretty sure we don't really see him after this. Yeah, Jimmy Hart is controlling a lot of tag teams around this point, really, isn't he? Natural Disasters, Nasty Boys, who are the tag team champions. And then he gets Money Inc. as well. I like the story that goes on there with all of that and how that unfolds. And LOD are in there. So you got a bit of a decent, I suppose, tag team division there, really, with a few others thrown in. Virgil versus Ted DiBiase was the other match that really, really mattered on this show. The $1 Million Championship for once was on the line, and Virgil wins it. Memorable. Sherry Martel in his corner didn't really help much for Ted DiBiase. He finally loses his $1 Million Championship. Yeah, memorable match, I suppose. Roddy Piper kind of annoying on commentary. Roddy Piper been kind of annoying through this whole story, really. Went from WrestleMania to SummerSlam. They dragged this out all the way from the Royal Rumble through WrestleMania into SummerSlam. Yeah, it just shows they told the story all this way through, and this is the payoff. Virgil winning the title here. Fortunately for Virgil, he does drop it back, I believe, very soon to Ted DiBiase, and we never really see the $1 Million Championship again for a while. And yeah, but he is down on the list of the few people that have held the $1 Million Championship, along with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah. So, yeah, he's got that for him. Ted DiBiase, Virgil, Stone Cold. He's among elite there, isn't he? Oh, Stone Cold. Along with elite with Virgil. I mean, he should think himself lucky, old Stone Cold, to be on that list with Virgil. Anyway, the Jailhouse match is up next, and that's memorable. That's comical, I suppose. Just shows how good the Mountie was as a character. I think he was brilliant here. Yeah. Okay match. Boss Man was fantastic. Let's have it right. Yeah, so underrated. One of the best big men of all time. Maybe even the best big man of all time. Boss Man was fantastic. The Mountie was funny. It was a good gimmick. Both of them having career gimmicks. It becomes a big thing in the WWF. It was back then, and it is for the next couple of years. They just can't get away from it. Everyone has to have a job. a side job. We've got the Jailhouse Man and the Boss Man. We've got the Mountie and numerous others. But this match worked. It was funny. It was entertaining. Memorable. Memorable moment. Memorable SummerSlam moment. One of the more memorable moments of SummerSlam. Funny. Yeah, it was. Mountie getting arrested, getting taken to jail. Fingerprints thrown in the cells. The comments from Bobby Heenan. Gorilla Monsoon. They all played their part. Was fantastic. Tag team title match, the street fight, was good. Hard hitting. What's not to love about the LOD and the Nasty Boys? They know how to put on a street fight. They really do. That's their game. That's their strength. That's where they thrive. And they thrived here. It was a very good, hard hitting physical match. Didn't really get to see that back in those days, and before that. These two were very physical teams. And it was decent. I enjoyed it. It's good to go back and watch it again. LOD winning the tag team titles for the first time in the WWF. Going down, cementing their place as one of the best tag teams of all time. They've won it all. They've won tag team titles all over. Dominated the tag team division everywhere they went. And this was one of the last ones they needed. And they've got them. They don't hold on to them for too long though, if my memory serves. Because pretty much they drop them pretty soon, I'm pretty sure. So either the Natural Disasters. I'm pretty sure it's the Natural Disasters who hold the titles next. But they've got a little bit of time with them, I do believe. But they go away. I'm pretty sure by WrestleMania they're not the champions. I don't know. I have to wait and see why and when. Anyway, we move to Erwin R. Shyster. A new gimmick as well, debuting pretty much. He hadn't been around for that long. Mike Rotunda, his new gimmick. Another person who has to have a job. IRS, the tax man. Suppose this is what he's most remembered for, really. And he does a good job with it, I suppose. Never going to be like main eventer with that gimmick, but worked, was what it was. He knew his place and he did a good job. He was a good in-ring worker. He really was. Greg Valentine, okay, was what it was this match. Nothing spectacular. Really wasn't. And then you had the main event, the handicap match. Hogan, Warrior against Sergeant Slaughter, General Adnan and Colonel Mustafa. Like, Mustafa and Adnan were fucking dreadful. Just abysmal. Why were they even in the room? What the You had Sid as the referee as well. You had Sid right there in the palm of your hands, and they really didn't utilise him in his first run in the WWF, in my opinion, at all the right way. At all. He looked like a beast. He was a jacked up fucking freak. And they barely used him. They brought him in as a babyface, as a friend of Hulk Hogan, I believe. Made him a referee. And then, yeah, I liked his turn at the Rumble. And then he had a match with Hogan at WrestleMania and lost. And that was about it. Dreadful. Dreadful first run. You got to admit, the first run he had with the WWF was fucking dreadful. They completely ballsed it up. Luckily, he has better runs in the future in the 90s. But Sid, for me, was fantastic. I did enjoy Sid. But yeah, his first run WWF completely sucked ass. I thought he was going to win the Rumble, but yeah, we'll get down to that very, very soon. The match, yeah, like understandably why it sucked was because of who was in it. I mean, you're not going to have a good match. Hogan, Warrior, they didn't like each other. They weren't getting on. No one liked Warrior at all. Right. Sergeant Slaughter didn't like him. It was dreadful. He just held up Vince McMahon for a shit ton of money. Iron Sheik was there. He didn't like him. Colonel Mustafa now. Jesus Christ. He'd seen better days, man. Why was he even in the match? General Adnan, what the fuck? What was he doing there? This was dreadful. This was the main event of SummerSlam. Laughable. Maybe that's why Warrior wanted more money, because why the fuck is he in the ring with Adnan and the Sheik, and why is he not facing Hogan for the title? Why is Sid the referee? It made no fucking sense, any of it. This was dreadful. Dreadful. Dreadful way to finish a SummerSlam. Just completely awful. And then you had the wedding with Miss Elizabeth and Randy Savage, and that was just sappy, soppy and bullshit. The only good part about it was when the Undertaker and Jake Roberts turn up with the snake. But yeah, it's just silly, man. I didn't enjoy that. I'm glad they got through that pretty quick and realised how shit it was. It really wasn't that good. I enjoyed Jake Roberts as a heel, and his feud with Savage. But I didn't enjoy this. This wasn't that good. Nah, no, it weren't for me. Anyway, let me know what you think down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.